is this the hardest problem for mastering engineers to fix? Did you hear that kick in the subs? It was a complete 5 decibels louder than everything else. And I missed it. I missed it when I QC'd the mix and I signed off the mix to put down for a mastering session. And I always usually ask for remixes, but for this time I already asked for a remix. And then I'm like, well, I've got it here and I don't want the client to fuss over me missing something. I'm going to make sure I get this right for them. And to me, that's also an important part of engineering, is not sort of copping out and being like, oh, you know, if you change this, this, and this, my job's way easier. Well, we're engineers. We're meant to create solutions to problems. So I want to show you why this is a difficult problem to manage in mastering, and then a few ways to fix it from a simple solution to a more complex solution. So first, I'm going to engage the mastering chain here. We're going to listen to the delta signal of the limiter. And what you're going to hear is the low end of that kick driving all the limiting. That is plain and simple a problem. We're working with the stereo mix, so anything I do the low end is also going to affect the bass line. It's going to affect the dynamics and the movement in the low end. So it's quite a precarious sort of element to manage. The first and most simple solution, and this is what I did for many years before I started getting fancier tools and DSP started to develop, I'm talking 10 years ago, is a high-pass filter. Now, a high-pass filter will work on this, but there's a few caveats to this. The shape and tone of the kick drum, that tail which are in the subs, you're going to lose. And to set this up, you probably haven't seen this before, because this is just something I do. I haven't seen other people do it. We're actually going to set up this high-pass filter whilst monitoring the delta of the limiter, so we can actually monitor how much of that kick is controlling the limiter as we bring that high-pass filter up. All right, take a listen to this. Now we'll listen to the full signal and A/B before and after this Pro Q3. Now, you can hear it, I can hear it. That is a lot of energy from the low end that's been taken out. The kick drum, definitely tighter. It's definitely tighter, but then also you lose that warmth that you get from the tail. So this is a okay solution, given that the references your client gives you, given that it sort of fits in with the direction of the final master. Now, for this project, this does not work. Sometimes this can work. This is a good sort of technique to have in your arsenal to monitor the delta signal of your limiter and then shift that high-pass filter up. You don't always need a high-pass filter, but sometimes there are issues which arise, which you will need to use it. It doesn't work for this one. Second option is to use a multiband. What we're going to do is we're going to set up this multiband just in the low frequencies, okay? And we're going to have quite a big look ahead and a hard knee because we're aiming that transient to come down. Now this actually sounds pretty good. Definitely better than the high pass filter. Listen to this before and after. We're going to just tweak. We're going to make this release a little bit faster and this attack a little bit faster, but the release is much faster, only because I want some of that body to come back into it a bit quicker. See, that's quite a good compromise. So before, that's decent. It's a good solution if you don't have other tools. It's not the best solution because I did the best solution on this. I don't make compromises. But it is something, again, another tool to have in your arsenal. If you face an issue like this, you can manage just using a multiband or a dynamic EQ in that manner. The way I actually did it was using Ozone 11. And with all the advanced features it has, I isolated the drums, managed to EQ using a low shelf on the transient information only, and then added a low end focus on the transient information, but in the upper lows, so that like 125 to 300 range, to bring back in its punch. The AB is very different. So we're going to go before and then we'll go after, and you'll actually hear that we control that transient, but it retains all of its natural energy. So it is, in my opinion, one of the hardest problems to fix in mastering because it is so nuanced. You can use a high pass filter, but it's very specific circumstances this is going to work. A lot of the time you're going to kill the energy and the vibe. You can use a multiband and it's good and it's decent and it gets you there. But it's not until you start actually using more advanced tools with transient and sustain modes and being able to isolate elements that you can go further. Ultimately, people are going to comment this. You should just ask for the mix to be updated. Yep, you're right. You should. I didn't. My mistake. Now, before I shot this, I just did a stem mastering session, and just for you guys, I'm crossing my fingers. Number one, the client signs off on it and likes it. But if they do, I'm going to see if I can ask their permission to use it on the channel. And the reason being, I crafted the most insane low end. I love low end. Low end's like the magic of modern music. It's like all these digital tools that allow you to get something really punchy and lively and warm and almost like you're in the room at a concert. But yeah, this stem mastering session was wild. The low end is punchy as hell. I crafted it to perfection. So I don't know whether that video is going to come out, but you can be sure not to miss it if you hit the subscribe button. That's all you got to do. Just hit the subscribe button and maybe watch another video because I love making these. This is my craft. This is my passion. And until next time, take care.